What is something that happened in your life that changed for the better?
Well, I have to say when I married and when I met my husband, because not only got a wonderful husband, 3 lovely children, 6 little grandchildren, and a new language, and a very happy life.
Who is the oldest relative you remember, and what do you remember about him or her?
The oldest relative, I guess, was my father's mother, who was from Ireland, and I just have a vague memory of her. She lived upstairs from us, and she seemed to care very much for me. I don't remember too much about it, but I had happy feelings about her.
How did your family celebrate holidays when you were a child?
Which holiday?
Christmas.
Okay, Christmas. We put our stockings. Santa filled them up. They were nylon stockings and orange and dates and things. Then we got presents. And, oh no, we went to church first. They came back and opened presents. And then we went to my grandparents, which we did really love. Because we wanted to play with our toys, but we went to grandparents and opened presents there, played with toys under the tree, and then had dinner. It was not a great time.
What's been the hardest moment of your life, and how did you get through it?
Well, I wonder if I could say that. I mean, it's for Rob, but I think Rob, and I'll talk to you, Rob, and say that when you went to daytime and you found out that you had been taking drugs, that was the hardest time for us. But you made it through, and we made it through, and I think it made us all stronger. So it ends up good. One of the happiest memories I have is buying this house because it gave us more room, a yard for the children to play in, a quiet neighborhood. Moving from Amboy Road where it's very crowded. And this was a wonderful thing, and it has continued to be wonderful because we can use it with our grandchildren. And so that's a happy memory of being able to afford it and get it. So that's it. Okay. Not the happiest, but it's a happy.
Right. And how about that last question? If your great-great-grandchildren could listen to this years from now, is there any wisdom you'd want to pass on to them? And what would you want them to know?
Well, something I've learned recently, and I think it's important, is that everything passes. You know, the good things and the bad things, that we worry about things, and it's all going to pass. And if you can remember that, and hang on to the good things, and just try to blend over or gloss over the things that are bad and try to deal with them, but to say it's going to pass and we're going to move on. I think that's my favorite thing right now, of saying that's what I think. So I don't know what else great-grandchildren. I'll have to get some other words of wisdom from somebody else. So that's it.
Okay, Vivi, your first question is, tell me about some of the places where you've been happiest.
Puerto Rico and Woodlock.
Ah. And what has been the happiest moment of your life so far?
When I was with Mommy.
Ah. Tell me somewhere you've always wanted to visit for a vacation and why.
I wanted to visit Costa Rica because I wanted to see Grandma.
What is one important lesson you learned in life?
Stop, drop, and roll.
What is something that happened in your life that changed things for the better?
The birth of my 2 girls, Lisa and Lily.
Who's the oldest relative you remember, and what do you remember about him or her?
The oldest relative I remember is probably Lucy. And I always remember when she was at I think she was maybe 100 at the time, and she was at the dinner table in Colombia. And somebody said to her, why? Or they said, oh, Lucy, you're kind of quiet. And she said, I'll speak when I have something to say.
Tell me somewhere you have always wanted to visit on vacation and why.
I would love to go to Chile, home of Neruda and home of lots of wonderful writers, and just love to see their. I'd love to see the mountains there, and just love to be in the cities there, and just see, sort of, go to museums and that kind of thing.
How did your family celebrate holidays when you were a child?
We always celebrated Christmas with lots and lots of presents under the tree. Probably too many presents, but Mommy likes to shop, so there were always lots and lots of presents. And the best part was our stockings. Stockings were so fun. They would always have an orange or a banana and a little tiny box of cereal, and super fun. I love that. I love the stockings.
Tell me about the day your first child was born.
Well, when Lily was born, she was born in the hospital in Long Island, and it was just an amazing day. We were just so blown away by her, and just that moment, and Johnny and we cried, and I knew she was going to be called Liliana right away, and Johnny said, what's her name? And I said, Liliana. We had 2 names picked out, but that was the one that came to my mouth as soon as she was born. And Johnny said, okay. And then he held Liliana while they attended to me in the bed, and then he talked to Liliana and he introduced her to everything in the world. It was very sweet.
What was your favorite job and why?
My favorite job was probably working in Barnes & Noble. And I loved it because I got to just talk to people all day long and recommend good books and get them to buy all the books that I loved. I got to do displays about the books, and celebrities would come in, and I'd get to meet celebrities. And I met the woman from Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, and I met Andrew McCarthy and Claire Danes, and just a bunch of people that came in. But that was just a really fun job because I liked my coworkers, and I really liked talking to people all day.
Who are some of your heroes that you actually looked up to?
I think when I was a kid, I looked up to my sister a lot, and probably my mom too. It's hard to know because when you're a kid, you don't really think about who your heroes are. But I liked all my teachers too. I always thought they were really cool, and yeah, that's probably about it.
What's been the happiest moment of your life so far?
Happiest moment was probably when Lily and Isa were born. Standard answer, but true.
What's been the hardest moment of your life, and how did you get through it?
The hardest moment of my life, I've been pretty lucky. I haven't had that many hard moments. I'd say probably this year, and just dealing with Isa's development has been pretty tough. And I think we've just been working at it every day, and just working with her, and we have a lot of people on our team that are working with her, so I think that helps, is just utilizing the people around you for support.
What are the most important lessons you've learned in life? Could skip that one. If your great-great-grandchildren could listen to you years from now, is there any wisdom you want to pass on to them? What would you want them to know? That's your last question.
I think the biggest thing for me is just to be kind and to try and understand people instead of jumping to conclusions and just trying to really see where other people are coming from. And, you know, that's a daily struggle, but it's really important to do. And just try and put yourself in the mindset of somebody else and just try to empathize and think about what they might be going through. And I think that's really, really important.
What are your favorite school subjects?
Recess, science, and gym. I mean, recess, art, and gym.
Ah, okay. What is something that happened in your life that changed for the better?
I don't know. Maybe getting gym more times a week.
Ah,
I
okay.
like that.
Tell me about your home.
3-floor condo. We have a nice basement as a playroom, and the bedroom is upstairs, and that's about it.
Who has been really kind to you?
Mom.
What is something that happened in your life that changed for the better?
Oh, quite a few things. I think the moving to the United States and the marrying the person that I marry. Fantastic.
What was your favorite job and why?
I think probably the favorite job was really probably the last one, because I was doing something that was very interesting with a tremendous good firm, Bear Stearns, and at the same time I was really not working too hard, but I was doing something that they have required me to do, which was taking care of the closing and beginning entries of every month. So I didn't have that much to do, but at the same time I was doing something meaningful.
The day your first child was born.
I think it's a fantastic feeling. It's a roller coaster. It was so emotional that it's unbelievable. I was glad that two of my sisters were here, and at the same time was so emotional that we sent one cable, I think, to Colombia, notifying them of the name, and I think maybe I tried to confirm the name on a telephone company, and we sent it a second different name, so they thought that we have twins. Fortunately, it was only one, and we are delighted to welcome Ana Maria into our family.
Who are some of your heroes that you actually looked up to?
I have always looked up to my mother and father because of the way that they actually brought us up, with the understanding that what they have and they lost wasn't meaningful, that was much more meaningful to have the care of the family than the possessions. So I think my mother and father, and now I am extremely proud, and it's almost my heroes, my wife and my kids.
What's the oldest relative you remember, and what do you remember about him or her?
I was not lucky to have my grandmother and grandfather alive when I was growing up. So it wasn't really that I have my grandfather and grandmother that I knew then. It was more mainly uncles and aunts. And yes, I do remember my uncles and aunts, my Tia Maria, Tia Emilia, Tio Jose Miguel, Tio Cesar. But I look at them, yes, as old people, but I don't really have too much recollection of them because they were not in our house all the time.
Let's see. What's been the happiest moment of your life so far?
Oh, quite a few. I am delighted to, and I say thank you, God, and repeat that almost every day because the amount of happy moments are overwhelming in the favor of the good ones rather than the bad ones. So it's almost like every day I confirm that I have been extremely lucky, blessed in many ways.
How did your family celebrate holidays when you were a child? Say Christmas.
Oh, Christmas was fantastic. It's one thing that I regret not to have continue with that traditions that we have at home because we have the novena that we celebrated in fantastic ways. We have the business of arrival of the Niño Dios, that was the one that brought the presents to the kids. And unfortunately, I didn't follow that. But Christmas at home was a fantastic thing. Don't forget, I am the last one of 13, so it must have been quite a holiday for all of us.
What are the most important lessons you've learned in life?
I think probably one big lesson again is probably something that my father have always installed on us, to be honest and to follow the rules and not to try to do and bend the rules. So to be honest in general is one of the things that is very important to me, and I think it's one of the biggest lessons that I have ever learned.
Last question. If your great-great-grandchildren could listen to this years from now, is there any wisdom you'd want to pass on to them?
Okay, I hope that they will listen to this one of these days and realize that what I am saying about honesty, love, and faith means quite a bit, and I hope that they will have them too.
Who is the oldest relative you remember, and what do you remember about him or her?
That would be Grandma, and that would be going to her house and having, like, sleeping over her house and having grilled cheese sandwiches, and then going to Friendly's and just staying at her house playing cards and things like that.
Tell me about your childhood home. I didn't get that question. Tell me about your childhood home.
My childhood home.
Would you consider this home or
Amboy Road would be my childhood home.
Okay.
I thought it was great, especially our basement, because we had a great basement where we had like shelves built out of bricks and boards, and we had tons of toys and a big red table where we could draw on, and we had a kitchen set and a blackboard, and we could go around and around on our roller skates in the basement. And even though it was small, it was like the best place ever.
What about the organ?
Oh, yeah, the organ was
The
good.
organ was pretty good.
You had an organ?
Yeah.
Wow.
Keyboard.
Yeah, keyboard. That was a real organ.
It was a keyboard.
I don't think so. Okay, tell me somewhere you've always wanted to visit on vacation and why.
I think that would be Italy, and I don't know why. We just have always wanted to go there, so we're going to go there when Daniel and Genevieve are older.
Ooh, how
3 of
old?
us. Daniel's going to be 11, and Genevieve will be 9.
They decided that, or you decided?
We decided that.
Oh, nice. Okay. How did your family celebrate holidays when you were? How did your family celebrate holidays when you were a kid?
We like Christmas.
I mean, that's what I picked.
I'm sure we'll say the same thing. Christmas, we got to open one present before we went to church. I think that was instituted later on in life. I don't know if that was a beginning thing. We always had stockings, and we don't have them now. Grumble, grumble. But we always got to open one present when we went downstairs, and we were able to open up our stockings, and there was always a box of good sugary cereal in the stocking. That was pretty cool.
He knows all
And we
that.
also had like 5,000 presents, and it took us hours to open them. And I loved that. Absolutely loved that.
Also, grumble, grumble.
Grumble, grumble that we don't do it that way either. Yes. I'm the only one who thinks that. I'm like, miss the presents.
Tell me about the day your first child was born.
It was a cold day. I was having craft night with my friends. I was at the supermarket when I had contractions. I came home, and my friends Lisa and my sister Nancy were there. Oh, you know Nancy, don't you? So Nancy and Lisa were there, and I started feeling like not so good. And I was like, I think maybe I'm having the baby. And everybody went to the hospital with me. It was like a snowy night, and we got there and had the baby a couple hours later.
Yeah. And you didn't ever finish that craft.
I don't even know what craft it was.
What were your favorite school subjects? I also didn't get this question. What were your favorite school
Reading.
subjects?
All right, you're next. You get first name, Rand.
Reading was my favorite subject.
Yeah, same. Literature and reading and all that kind of stuff.
Definitely not math.
Yeah, not math. Sorry, none of us got math. Sorry, puppy. What was your favorite job and why?
It's my favorite job.
Can be your current.
I would say it's my current job. I love teaching. It's always a different day. Kids are always keep you engaged and happy, and you're kind of your own boss.
It's true. Who are some of your heroes that you actually looked up to?
I don't pass.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't get that one.
Tell me about some of the places where you've been the happiest. Also didn't get that question.
You're next. Then.
Places I've been the happiest? At the beach. At Lavalette Beach. This is my favorite place in the world.
Yeah.
Because it's just comfortable and calm and nice.
Yeah. I would say one of the places I've been the happiest are here in the house, here on Rose Avenue, out on the porch playing with the kids, or out in the backyard playing, or in some places in Colombia like Parque Tayrona. I love that place. What are you proudest of?
That I'm teaching my kids in my class and kids that I have to be good people, to do like good deeds, and to focus on trying to be positive about other people.
Mm-hmm. Nice. What's been the hardest moment of your life, and how did you get through it?
I don't know if I'd say it was the hardest moment. Probably one of the hardest moments was having the accident and trying to drive after that, and like every day thinking like a car could hit into me and smash me and kill me, and so trying to just to not think about that and just to be able to drive, you know, like not like I never thought about that before, and so that's kind of like a hard moment.
Right.
Or was a hard moment.
Post-traumatic stress.
We keep our commentary in there.
Keep my commentary in there. What are the most important lessons you've learned in life?
I don't know, I guess to be a good person and to think about other people. I think that Mommy taught us that.
Mm-hmm.
I think Poppy taught us that
Poppy
too.
didn't teach us that. Poppy didn't teach us
I think
that.
Poppy taught us that too, but I think Mommy they both led by example. And Mommy doing a ton of volunteering and just making it a part of a everyday thing that she did, kind of that instilled that in us, about just being considerate of others.
Mm-hmm. Who has been the kindest to you?
You have, Nan.
What? Me?
I would say her, actually, if I had been asked that question, which I was not, so.
Johnny didn't know that one.
He was like, he cut mine down.
He only asked me 10. He only gave me 10 of them.
I know, well, he didn't, out of 17 questions, I only got like 6.
I don't even know who's the
Okay, last question. If your great-great-grandchildren could listen to this years from now, is there any wisdom you'd want to pass on to them? What would you want them to know?
That you should surround yourself by happy people. You should surround yourself by people who make you happy, who make you feel happy, who make you feel good about yourself, and to not surround yourself with people who are just going to bring you down. That you should just kind of focus on being happy and doing what makes you happy.
Good.
So what is the place where you have gone to that made you really happy?
I don't know. To the playground.
Yeah. Okay. Anywhere else?
No, thank you.
Okay. Who makes you really happy?
Poppy.
And who else?
Grandma.
And who else?
Abuelito.
And who else?
Isa.
And who else?
Grandma.
And who else? You're forgetting somebody.
Where's Mommy around here? Mommy.
Mommy.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were.
If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you want to go?
No more questions. I want